Hello, everybody. We're live. Welcome to Mile High Recovery Chat. I'm Bryce.
And I'm Lindsay. How's it going, Bryce?
I'm good. I'm here in Winter Park. I'm on vacation. You can see the bunk beds behind me.
Yeah.
My
Looks
son's
like
got the top one.
he's got the top bunk. And so
Hmm.
you drew the short stick and got put on the bottom.
No, not really. I made him go up
No.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. The truth
yeah,
comes out.
yeah.
Cool. So you got some family time up in the mountains.
Yeah, just like a 3 night, 2 full days of skiing vacation in Winter Park. So it's cool.
Nice. What's going
Yeah.
on with you this week? I know you've had some stuff going on.
My dog died. My dog Buddy,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
I had to have him put down. And
Gosh.
I had him for 16 years. He was 17, and he
Yeah.
lived through like the worst of my alcoholism, and he was my dog through
Through all of
several
it.
several relationships of, you know, varying success. And he was just really old, and his health had been declining, and
Yeah.
he for like 2 years it was declining. He couldn't see, he was
Mm.
deaf. He was just losing weight, wouldn't eat, and like recently, like the last couple of weeks, I had to carry him down the stairs to go to the bathroom, and
So sorry.
he would get lost in the house, and he would be barking and bumping into things, and so I just decided it was time, and I called this company, and they come out to the house and they do it, and it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was just one of the hardest, saddest things I've ever had to do in recovery. Like
I
when we get sober, like, I don't know, I did this. Like when I first got sober, it's like, what would happen that would make me relapse? And
Yes.
like this was one of them.
This you felt this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm not
Oh,
going to relapse, obviously.
no. I mean, but yeah, this is one of those things they talk about, or that you are thinking like, I wonder, like, what will that be like when I cross that bridge? Or so, yeah, I'm so sorry. Well, I think what's your favorite memory of Buddy? What's like something that just you'll keep with you forever?
I don't know. One time, like after me and my first wife got married, actually my only wife, we got married, and my friend Blaine, who gave us a doggy pack, right? Like you
Yeah.
like for hiking, the dog wears it, and you put food
Yeah.
in there, and you put stuff in there. And he had it on. He was prancing around the room. He was so proud to be wearing this backpack, and that was pretty
Oh,
funny. He was just really gentle, and I don't know. He just put up with me because I'm kind of a spaz, and
a little bit.
yeah, I don't know. But he was a good dog. He didn't. I raised two little boys around him, and he never
Yeah.
did
How are the
anything
kids?
bad.
How are the kids handling it? Are they bummed and just
Trace hasn't
feeling
talked
it?
about it. Trace
Yeah,
knows him his whole life, hasn't really talked about it much yet. I assume he'll want to talk about it eventually. And
sure.
Oliver's not quite two, so he doesn't,
Right. He hasn't comprehended
he
that.
won't even notice that he's gone. Probably.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that for a fact, but
Right.
so yeah, man, it was like a rough week, and
Gosh.
leading up to it was so heavy, and like I just cried so much,
Yeah.
and I mean, like, not like graceful tears, like ugly crying.
That's like the cathartic crying. Like you can't polite cry your way through that. You got to let it all out. My favorite place to cry is in the car wash. You go through the car wash and like you've got the suds and the water and it's loud and I can just like let it out. And then I come
Yeah,
out the other side with a clean car and like a clear soul.
I'll keep that in mind for
You go
next
cry
time.
it out in the car wash if you ever need to. And that's for all of you out there. Like the car wash cries are the best cries. That or the bathtub cries. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Cool. We've got like a super awesome guest on. I know you've known him for a good while now, right?
I, I've known him for a while.
Yeah.
He's funny, and he's inspirational, and he's in recovery, and he's just one of those people that has this variety that you want, you know what I mean? And his name is Greg Maloney, and he is a bodybuilder, and he has a
Bodybuilder.
company called American Gainz Muscle and Fitness. And let's just go ahead and get him on and start
Yeah.
talking
Bring him
about
on.
recovery. Greg.
Greg.
What's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm good. I don't want to curse. I'm not allowed to curse on this show, am I?
You can do
we-
whatever. You can do whatever you want. You're the guest.
Don't tell me that.
He can work
Uh-oh.
clean. Greg's good.
I'll
He can
keep
work
it clean. I usually do. I was just playing around.
Yeah, I know. So I know you from going to meetings. That's how I know you.
Yeah.
And
Early
like,
in the morning too.
yeah, 6:30. We go to a 6:30 in the morning.
Oh,
Aggressively
God.
early.
And he's easy to notice. Like I noticed him right away. Like
He stands out, doesn't he?
That guy's big, man. And you know, I found out he's a personal trainer, and so that you told one story one day, and like everybody has like one story that could kind of sum up their whole using career in one story. And you told the story about going to your dealer's house with a flat tire, or was there more than one flat tire?
Oh, you remembered that.
It's perfect. It gave me everything I needed to know about you.
Yeah, the unmanageability, all that stuff. Yeah, wrapped into one. Yeah, man, so I was living out of my boss's van. This was, I don't know, 4 years ago. And this was at the pinnacle of my height of my disease. You know, I'm homeless. I'm living in this van, you know, outside of his house. I've got the freaking extension cord running from his neighbor's house into the van, plugged into a heater, you know, because it's winter time. And, you know, so I'm driving around. I had no license, certainly no insurance. And, you know, I'm somehow showing up to work every day, basically because he's giving me a place to live, his Astro van. So anyway, I had to get dope one night, and I don't even think I had money, but I ended up. So, and this, by the way, so this van didn't have brakes.
Oh, jeez.
All right,
God.
so I'm stopping the van, and the e-brake is done. So I'm stopping the van by downshifting, and then when I get real slow, I hit it in reverse. It stops it. All right, so I get to I don't know, I got to McDonald's and I get a flat, and I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? And I'm about, I don't know, a couple miles away, and I'm like, screw it. Well, actually, I tried to get a ride from a couple of people, and everybody's just ignoring me. They rolled their window real quick, like, you know, who's this crazy man? And so I decided to make this trek in this van, and so I'm riding on a flat, and it continuously getting worse and worse and worse. And the flat tire, eventually the tire, you know, rips off of the rim, and I'm just on a rim, and I'm like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And then right when I get about across the street from the guy at the dealer's house, that A-arm breaks or something, and I end up, you know, so I barely make it by the grace of, I don't know what was saving me at that point, my own willpower. I made it to the YMCA parking lot, and yeah, so that was that sums it up pretty good.
So
That's Greg.
Yeah, that's great. So you're like one of those guys that once you start, you end up getting stopped usually by law enforcement. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, every time, like, I try to stop on my own accord. I try to go get on Suboxone. I mean, so many times I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get on methadone, Mom. Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. And I start this methadone. I'm like, they started me too low, and I'm still, you know, I end up with a double habit, heroin and methadone. And so, yeah, the only way, so basically, like, and I know I'm an addict, like, the first step is, like, I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic, boom. No matter, like, if I take sip, it's going to be a couple of years. So, but so I can't stop unless I get locked up.
So you got locked up, and that's a gnarly story. So you got locked up, and you'd been in recovery before, but hadn't really done the deal, right?
Yeah, no, I had 8 years. I went through a 12-step fellowship some years ago. I got 8 years sober, and I went through a treatment center, a long-term treatment facility. I don't know if I can mention their name, but if it's long-term, it's court-ordered, it's Pier 1, and that was 20 years ago. And then so I got 8 years for that, and I was working a deal, doing a thing, but I was missing a key component for me, and that's, you know, in some of the rooms they call it a mental defense, and that was, you know, a higher power greater than myself, and I didn't have this relationship with this power. So when I got to jail this time, I conceited kind of into my innermost self, and I just asked from the depths of my soul, from my most broken place, please help me. And
Wow.
something moved in, and that was 3 years ago, almost
And
to
then you,
day.
and then
Wow.
so you got out of, was it prison or just jail?
Just jail this time. Yep. I
Okay,
went
good
to the
job.
halfway house.
A halfway
Right.
house. How long were you there?
So I was in jail for 4 months, and then I went to the halfway house for 8 months. And yeah.
So a year of forced sobriety, because I believe in this thing. Like a lot of times in the rooms, we'll discuss this internal shift that happens, and it's like it's all magic. It's true and it's real, but it's all magic in a way, and it's hard to recreate that for other people. But you can recreate a year of forced sobriety and pray that they find it in that time, right? So
Yeah.
you had 4 months in jail, 8 months in a halfway house, and did you have
And many opportunities to drink and use it during those times. I mean, I'd probably have had better access to the stuff in the halfway house than I've ever had in my life. There was people, so it was everywhere.
But you were looking at
But
more
yeah,
jail
I had the
time.
court, and yeah, I was on the honor system. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Oh.
I won't use Your Honor.
Okay. And so you started doing you started going back to 12-step, right?
Yes.
And so you identify mostly as a drug addict, is that correct?
I would say, yeah. I mean, just based on the specific traditions of any particular 12-step fellowship that I go to, I introduce myself to out of respect for those traditions. But yeah, I'm a drug addict for sure.
Okay. But your fellowship is AA, right?
Correct.
Doesn't matter, does it?
No.
It's the same steps, and it's just like,
Same thing.
Yeah, right. And I get that question a lot because we have a treatment center. I own a treatment center, and it's a lot of young guys. And you don't find alcoholics anymore. It's mostly drugs. And they're like, why should I go to AA, dude? And it's like, because it doesn't matter what you go to. You got to go do something, right? Anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's just like a side note, I guess.
Yeah.
So you stayed sober, and you got out of the halfway house, and eventually you got off paper, right?
Right. I got off paper 2 years ago, February 12th. 2 years ago.
For those who don't know what that means, getting off paper means you're done with your probation. You're off paper. You don't have to check in anymore. You don't have to pee in a cup for them. Right. And I'm sure that as long as you stay clean and nothing happens and you don't get arrested anymore, you're good to go. The second you get arrested, they're going to bring it all back up, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They take all that into consideration. I mean, they won't hold it against me per se, but they will certainly look at that track record and be like, yeah, you've had your chance. You're going to prison for another, for however long. Because I've got several felonies. I mean, I'd be third strike, 3-strike ruled odd.
All right. And so let's talk about fitness. Like, how'd you get into fitness? Was that something probably earlier on, but you got back into it? Is that right?
Yeah. I've always kind of been an athlete most of my life. I was in sports and stuff like that. And when I got clean the first time, I was into fitness quite a bit. I was a stunt man. I did. I've just worked out. I just loved the feeling, and it helped me a lot. This time when I got out of jail and got into the halfway house, I was really interested in bodybuilding. So I got into this bodybuilding thing, and it was just something else to put my focus towards. Healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit kind of thing, and it just really. I mean, it spikes the endorphins in a certain way, and it's dopamine to where, when I'm working out like I do today, it truly does get me high. And it's truly a natural high. You don't come down from it, but so I started to feel that, from the cardio or the weightlifting or whatever. And then I just, felt inspired to stay with it. Now I'm just hooked on it. So, and I have a good balance, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but when you use like hard drugs like heroin or meth, it steals your happy cells, right? It messes up the chemical makeup of your body, and you don't get any kind of endorphins or serotonin naturally.
Not for a long time.
Right. But it comes back, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it comes back quite a bit faster when you incorporate exercise and things like that in your system. So those post-acute withdrawal symptoms or syndrome, that will go away after some time. They say 18 months for meth or whatever, or heroin, before you start to get those happy feelings back. so working out, that came back really, really quickly. And I started doing that in jail, you know, doing push-ups.
Yeah.
So do you do like competitions? You know,
I
like
do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did one last year. In 2019, I did a competition in November, a bodybuilding show. And then I was going to do one this last year in 2020, but the COVID hit. So I'm going to do it. So I'll do, my next show is going to be in December of this year. So,
right.
And I'm going to go to a national stage. So.
And that's how you're making a living too, correct?
Yeah. So not bodybuilding per se. Like I'm not getting sponsorships and things like that. Although I do have some of that stuff going on. But they just don't pay the money that they used to, like back in the day. Flex magazine and things like that. So today it's more, but it lends well to my personal training business and certainly a good billboard for my business. People see me the way I look and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're a trainer, right?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." So it lends well to that. So, and that's, you know, people used to ask me that all the time. They've been asking me that for years, and I'm like, "No, I'm not a trainer." So I just remembered that. I was like, why am I not doing this? It's like, so that's how I found my purpose. Like, I love to do this. People already think I'm a trainer. So, you know, and it's just been a great fit. And so I've been doing it about a year now, and it's really taken off.
So do you train people for competitions, like people that want to go in and do that, or?
I do. I'm just getting into that part of it though.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll work in tandem with somebody, with my coach, to help, you know, he helps coach me in coaching them, just so I don't steer them wrong. Cause there's a lot of variables that go into this competition phase where you're, you know, depleting yourself of water, and there's a lot of elements to go into it.
There's a lot of moving parts, it sounds like.
Yeah. So,
awesome.
And, you know.
So talk about, so you get sober, you like your program, like your daily routine is meetings, you give back to other people, and you mentioned, you know, fitness, obviously. You mentioned purpose. Like what role does purpose play in your life? And you know what I mean? Like, how'd you find that? Like, what is that?
Yeah. So purpose, yeah, it permeates every aspect of my life. And so, and it has to do, and my general purpose is service work. So I found that, well, when I first got sober this time in jail, I said, you know what, God, if you see fit for me to go to prison, fine, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to stay sober, and I'm going to be helpful to somebody. And so that was my goal, and that was my intention, and that was my true surrender. So ever since then, I've had this heart for serving people, whether that's being kind to somebody, smiling with somebody, you know, whatever that may look like. There's so many ways to be of service. And so so that's carried over into my everyday life today. You know, I worked the 12 steps. I've worked them a couple times. I sponsored guys. And so I do a lot of service in the rooms, and then and I do a lot of service outside the rooms. You know, I'm always I wake up and ask my higher power, how can I be of service today? Show me somebody that I can help today. So I address every day with that kind of that attitude, and because I know that through service, all my needs are met through service to others. So you know, if I'm helping somebody else, God's going to take care of the rest. My rent's always been paid, even though I, you know, started a new personal training business during the COVID meltdown. You know, I'm like, oh, the gyms are shut down. Perfect. You know, most people would be like, just my luck, man. This is bullshit. You know, like I get to, I use it as an opportunity. And you know, I said, you know what, God's going to work this out. I'm just going to continue to help others. And I continue to do that. And part of that helping others is sponsorship. And that doesn't play into my income or in any way, shape, or form, but it's a big part of me getting out of myself and showing up for other people. A lot of that's thinking of others, praying for others, but that purpose is service. And so I bring those principles into my daily life, into my family life as best I can. It's probably the hardest part is to bring these principles into that family life, but I do the best I can into my relationship with my girlfriend, and then with my kids, and then into my business. You know, I come into my work, and I'm, you know, people ask me a question, I'm ready to help. I'm like, yeah, what do you got, man? And I'm always willing to help people out. So I mean, that just feeds my business. I don't do marketing. I don't, you know, I just walk around with a smile, and I'm generally a nice guy, and I know what I'm doing, and so and I display that work ethic in the gym. So yeah, just all kind of works well together. It meshes well together. So I feel truly like I am living my purpose because I get to help others. Yeah.
When I was 2 years sober, I went through this period where I had this, like, I don't know, like this other surrender, and it's like I was depressed and I was like, well, why am I here? You know what I mean? Like, is this it? You know what I mean? Like I work and I try to have a relationship with a girl and I raise my kid. Is that it? You know what I mean? And then I went through this like period where it's like, and I had this therapist and she said, go ahead and follow the threads in your life. What do you love? Who loves you? What fills you up? You know what I mean? Like what kind of lights you up? And I started thinking about that and I was like, well, I like AA. And she's like, well, you probably can't make a living doing that. And I was like, well, no, but I can be around people in recovery, right? And I can give back. And so I opened one sober house. And that was how this whole thing started for me. But just by doing that one thing, my depression lifted and like, I just, and it's like, it's exactly what you're doing. And a lot of people they'll get sober and early sobriety, start lifting weights, right? And they love it. And I never discourage that. I just love it. Like I love when guys start lifting weights and going to the gym. And
hey, wait, women lift too.
I know. I love the way you do it. I love when anybody does it, and it's like that's not all the like that's not the program, but it's important, right?
Yeah.
It's important. Like and just getting fit and like getting those chemicals going back in your body so that hopefully they can reset and you can be like back at normal again, whatever that is. So the business so your personal training business and you're out on your own now, right?
Yep. Out on my own. I work out of a gym called Armbrust Pro Gym. And I've got an office here and I'm self-employed. I pay them rent kind of like a barber pays a booth rental for their chair. I pay per client, the gym per client, so I pay them like $20 a client each time I train. And then, and then I get access to all their membership and I market in there. They have TV screens all over the place. So I have a little marketing thing there.
Do you have like a headshot with?
No, yeah, I'm definitely, it's a fancy fitness model shot. Yeah. Yeah.
Kendall and Turner Snell wants to know if you're taking new clients, Greg.
Only, yes, I have. I'm taking new clients.
Do you know her?
Thank you, Kendall. Yeah, that's my girlfriend.
I was like, you're blushing. Like there's something more than just.
I saw that pop across the screen. That's
good job, Candlin.
Hi, Candlin. She's been such a big support. She helped me get into this thing.
She did.
Yeah. So she's a trainer too. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a good fit for you. I think being a personal trainer is a good fit for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, totally. There's a lot of people in there that I suspect they're not really that happy, but I don't worry about you. You're a pretty happy guy. You seem fairly happy with your life and the way things are going.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah. It seems like that happiness is because you do all parts that are like suggested. You have the service work, you have the connection with the higher power, you have the connection with the fellowship and the program. So I think that's like so important to hit on is that it's not like a buffet where you can kind of like a la carte your recovery. Like it's really like those suggestions are there for a reason because if you look at you, Greg, like, you're the shining example of like what a life looks like, what a human looks like, how you show up in our world when you take those suggestions and apply them.
Yeah.
So, I do service work. I help other people. I have faith things are going to work. We're going to work out. And as a result, I get to be happy.
Yeah.
Right.
And isn't that kind of what it's all about? That's what it's all about, right? It's not just about not using. It's about being happy too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Lifestyle.
All right. Yeah, cool. Well, Greg, thank you. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah.
Oh, you can reach me on Instagram at American.Gainz, and that's Gainz with the Z. American.Gainz. I have a phone number, 720-893-0103.
Maybe Candlin will put that up.
Or you can reach me at Greg@AmericanGains.biz.
All right. Cool, man. You're awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Bryce. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Lindsay.
Good,
Appreciate it.
good luck.
Yeah, nice to
Thank
connect
you.
with you.
Yes, you too. Thank you. Have a great
Bye,
one.
Greg.
All right.
Appreciate you having me on.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, yeah, he is. He's awesome. He's got great sobriety, and he's just a good guy. He's my kind of guy.
I love that.
Yeah, he is. He's a good guy.
Totally. And I just want to say, like, I felt what you said when you said, like, at about like 2 years sober, you kind of hit this lull of like, is this really it? Is this like what I signed up for? Like I go to work, I try and have a relationship, I stay sober, and yeah, I feel better than I did before. But you kind of, yeah, I hit that like kind of that 2 year slump as well.
I think
And
the
what I
trick
had
is,
to,
yeah, is to continue to work program around like your business and your career and
yeah,
whatever that means. You know what I mean? Like Greg does. He's talking about, he works program around his business. And that's kind of what I had to do. And I had to I mean, not everybody should do what I did. I sold my house. I quit my job. I dumped a girl and gave away all my stuff and moved into an apartment, a small apartment, and then kind of redesigned my life.
you rebooted your life.
I did, but
Yeah.
it was scary, but I just sort of had faith. I didn't even know what it was. I mean, like there's this expression like, you want to be here and you want this thing, but you can't get there. So you just take one step in the right direction and let the universe rearrange the way it's supposed
Yes,
to. And then you'll get
absolutely.
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we have someone I know you're very excited to speak with for next week's guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see here. There we go. Yeah. So we've got David McLaughlin of Saucy Organics. So he is the owner of a CBD company. And I know this is an area that you personally have like a big interest in. So
Yeah.
he'll be joining us next week.
Yeah. I'm passionate about this and, we can get into it more, but
Yeah.
we'll get into it more next week because I'll like run over. But I started when they legalized marijuana in Colorado, I was already sober, so I missed
Same.
the train on all the powerful stuff. And so, but there was a guy at a conference talking about CBD, and I remember thinking, no, because it's from a pot plant. I'm not down with that, right? And then so like a few months ago, I started taking CBD. I had this pain in my neck, and it's been there for years, and I just started taking it because I knew another friend, my friends in recovery, was taking it.
Like internally taking it, or was it a topical?
A gummy, like a gummy.
A gummy.
But there's no THC in it, and that's the addictive, psychoactive
part of marijuana.
That's what gets you high. And CBD is kind of an anti-inflammatory. And I'm probably gonna who knows? People might be mad at me for saying this now, but I've been taking it and my mood's elevated and the pain in my neck is gone. And so I'm curious, and I'm just curious about this topic. And,
I love it.
Hopefully, because there's all kinds of terrible medication in the world that
oh my goodness. Like think about Tylenol. Like doesn't Tylenol cause like liver failure if like acetaminophen? Yeah.
Right. And so this is like a natural thing, right? And so I look forward to talking to
So
David.
He'll be joining us next week at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday. So everyone have a beautiful week. Enjoy the weekend. Bryce, enjoy the mountains and fresh air with your family. That sounds amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Lindsay.
Bye everyone.
Bye.